Bring the action.
Oh yeah. Hello, I'm Media Mike. I've been privately analyzing the Cars franchise for years. I've had some experience in the entertainment industry. I made this video not only for the fans, but also for the people who work at Pixar. So please, Disney and Pixar, take notes. Let's jump in to what Cars 4 should be about. Before we get into the story, we need to talk about what's really important, how McQueen should look in the film. Now, in the first film, he had a NASCAR spoiler. The second film, he had a World Grand Prix spoiler. For the third film, he went back to the NASCAR spoiler. But it would be a perfect match if McQueen returned with the Cars 2 World Grand Prix spoiler in the fourth movie. His designs would line up perfectly.
I like that. The geometry of belief.
Now, I'm not talking about the graphics, I'm talking about the shape. Now, I run an animation club at my college, and I took a survey. It won by a landslide that the Cars 2 McQueen looked the best. Students say that he looked more like a race car. His spoked wheels looked more professional, he had real headlights, and the spoiler made him look like a next-gen anyway. So it would really be great if McQueen had the Cars 2 spoiler, and perhaps the one for the new Global Racers diecast line for Cars 4. Just saying. Cars 4 should be like Cars 2 for the reason that it's time to get more cinematic, it's time to get more exciting. For me, I think that Cars has even more potential than the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Cars 3 unfortunately kind of disappointed me at the theaters for how unexciting it actually was compared to Cars 2. Quick note, Pixar, if you would have switched the releases from Cars 3 and Cars 2, you would have made more money. People were expecting Cars 2 to be like Cars 3, and by the time Cars 3 came out, people were kind of bored with the story, and no kid wants to see Lightning McQueen think that he's old. I saw kids kind of squirming in the theaters, and that scene where they're just at the bar talking, I'm like, is this a 1970s adult movie? How do you get from Finn McMissile to this? I'm sorry, it just kind of, I didn't feel full at the end of the movie. I didn't feel complete. On to the next reason. Lightning McQueen should be the main character. A lot of reasons why Cars 2 was disappointing to so many fans was the focus on Mater. And I realized the director of Cars 3 mentioned that he would focus on Cruz Ramirez. I don't believe she's a strong enough character to carry an entire movie. Even her design isn't that appealing to me. And if you were to pick between a red or a yellow car, most people would buy a red car. Just saying. And yet another reason why Cars 4 should be like Cars 2 is the music. Now, I'm not talking smack about Randy Newman, he was phenomenal, but for the Cars 3, it was a lot of reused soundtracks. And honestly, it was kind of dull. I knew somebody who worked with Michael Giacchino, and he said that he really enjoyed the Cars 2 soundtrack. In fact, I listened to it just by itself. So please, bring back Michael Giacchino for the fourth movie, because we want that real cinematic, action-packed theme. Okay, and now the reason why you clicked on this video. What should the story be about? Now, of course the Cars movies focus on racing, And I think that racing should be an important element in Cars 4, but I say it's time to expand Lightning McQueen's journey. He's more than a racer. We saw in Cars on the Road, he kind of liked being an actor. You know, he was scared of clowns. That's some real character development. I think that Cars 4 should be about Lightning McQueen and his friends being threatened by self-driving cars. And these self-driving cars are like the robots of their world. These self-driving cars would take over racing. They would take over Chrome, which is Finn McMissile's organization, and they would take over jobs. I think it would be a great social commentary because it's time to release this movie at a time where Teslas and self-driving cars are becoming more prominent, which makes the Cars franchise more relevant. Speaking of Teslas, it would be a smart move to have Elon Musk as a cameo, as a Tesla. That would just, I could see that going viral on TikTok or something. So back to the story. Please have Lightning McQueen and Sally's relationship go to the next level. Have them engaged. Have the movie even begin with a wedding. All the movies start with almost a race or some sort of action, but to start with romance or to start with something unexpected like a wedding would be really, really cool and kind of a nod to how Cars on the Road ended. So Lightning and Sally get married, and then Lightning McQueen sees on the news that his friend Cruz Ramirez is acing the world of Piston Cup racing, and suddenly, just like Lightning McQueen felt, Jackson Storm is even feeling threatened by these new robot racers, and they're even more efficient. They don't even need to be paid or sponsored, and Sterling is behind all of that. I think that Sterling was untapped potential to be a villain as he kind of turned sour towards the end, and I'd like for him to work with maybe one of the Lemons from Cars 2 to work on these robots so they can get profit so they don't have to pay workers or racers in this Cars world. Meanwhile, we're gonna see Finn McMissile. Now I realize that Michael Caine retired from acting, but there are plenty of people who could take over the role, even get the guy who voiced him in the video game, because he's such an awesome character to go to waste.
The only thing finished around here is you, Professor Z.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect.
Ever been to Tennessee, Jarvis?
Creating a flight plan for Tennessee.
Perfect.
Literally, he is the coolest Cars character in history. I'm sorry, he is. So, have Finn McMissile feel threatened by a new robot agent, and he's let go from his job as serving. Also, have Holly and Mater have their relationship seen in the background as like a subplot.
I'm sorry I screwed things up. I know I made a huge mistake.
Not good enough, baby.
Very little, but we're focusing on McQueen's question, what makes Cars alive? Now, I don't think Pixar is ever afraid to shy away from big and deep topics like WALL-E or some things in the Toy Story movies.
How am I alive?
The bond between a man and his automobile. How he hates it sometimes, mostly how he loves it. Showers gifts on it in the way of accessories. He gets hysterical if somebody scratches the paint or makes it lose face on the freeway. Maybe some of those feelings got into the machinery. I don't know. Tennessee thinks so.
Creating a flight plan for Tennessee.
Is there any other way?
But it's time to state the obvious, Pixar. It's time to take your movie to the next level and start to question, how can Cars be alive? Now, Lightning McQueen, he's kind of smart, so I would recommend that he would ask such a question. And we saw in the first movie a painting in Doc's courtroom where we see cars coming down from this heaven of a car factory on an assembly line, and Lightning McQueen remembers that. And you can also add some sentimental scene where he's missing Doc Hudson, and then he's asking the friends in Radiator Springs, where do we come from? And they don't have a clear answer. So McQueen, Mater, Sally, and any other characters that you guys want to make up for marketing go on a quest to find out why cars are alive, and the secret is how to stop the robots from taking over, because they've noticed a decline of the population of cars. So again, the leader of the robots, the most smartest, almost like the Cars universe's Ultron or Terminator, his name is Autonomous. I think Autonomous is a cool name, and he's like the real villain behind everything. He becomes way too smart. He's a self-driving car. He's slick. He's bad. He's just high tech. He has a screen for eyes. He has an animatronic mouth, and he just gives the audience chills. And Autonomous is short for autonomous, which you call autonomous driving. So have Autonomous have some sort of resentment for Lightning McQueen, and because he's a robot, he locks a target and he challenges McQueen to a race. But this race is different. If Lightning McQueen loses the race, all racers across the world, all alive cars have to quit racing. It affects the Cars world on a global scale. And it's even raises the stakes for not just Lightning McQueen quitting like they did in the Cars 3 film, but every car quitting racing. And so Lightning McQueen accepts that challenge. And even though I have an ending and a detailed script, I don't want to give it away because I want Pixar to use my ideas and just do whatever they'd like with them and just have this movie really blow all the ones out of the water on scope, story, deeper meanings, values, social commentary, special effects. They have the budget, they have the brilliance. I would like to see Cars 4 be the first Cars movie to be PG. So, there you have it, Pixar, and there you have it, fans, my idea for Cars 4. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments if this is what Cars 4 should be about, because I would be really disappointed if they just do a story on Cruz Ramirez, or just do a racing story again, or they go on a road trip, or they go to space, or something just like cartoony and not really sophisticated. I want this story to have realism. I want this story to have heart, and please, expand the universe beyond racing. Lightning McQueen is alive, and he wants to know why. There you have it, viewers. Hope you enjoyed. Smash that subscribe button, as I'll be doing more Cars 4 related videos, and I'll see you all on the next one.